Hey everyone, this is Modest Millions and welcome back for episode 2 of Monday Millions. Today we have a lot to talk about. This past week has been very good to me, and a lot of this has to do with Inscription, enchanting, and tailoring the legendary craft items. We're also going to cover a few odds and ends, as well as one of the biggest no-nos that I have seen people doing more than anything in Shadowlands expansion. So let's go. So everyone, welcome back. I'm absolutely loving this podcast style of video, and if you missed our first episode, you can check it out right here. There's a lot of great information on crafting, as well as some flips and what I was doing at the time. So today we're going to be covering 3 big flips that I've been doing with crafting professions right now. We will talk about enchanting, inscription, and followed by tailoring, and ending the episode with a pet peeve of mine. I will also be taking the additional time to make a standalone video for this later to cover it in more detail. So let's jump right into this, guys. So first off, we have Inscription. This has been making me tons and tons of gold. Not only am I still making gold with pigment flips, but whenever the pigments stop making gold, the inks are always making gold. Luminous ink is more difficult to sell, but the price difference in umbral ink makes up for the luminous ink. I'm currently averaging around 20 to 30k a day in sales in range from pigments to inks. But the big money maker right now is the Codex of the Still Mind and the Tome of the Still Mind. These are a necessity for people doing Mythic Plus and raiding right now, and has an amazing profit margin. I know a lot of people are scared off by the market right now because if you simply use TSM and then look at all this, they're showing a net loss. However, I have tested tens of thousands of herbs milled in Shadowlands already by myself, and I can tell you for sure that this is not the case. Without giving too much away about another upcoming video, I'm going to have a usable and customizable spreadsheet, kind of like my tailoring one that I did, that makes it to where you can test your market's mass milling profits for doing this flip without ever having to actually test it yourself. The tomes are selling very quickly, and I'm averaging around 50 to 150 sales a day. This last test that I did that is helping me put together the information for the spreadsheet, I spent around 158k on 7,000 Death Blossom. Just yesterday, I was able to flip that into around 310 gold worth of tomes and codex. So, like I said, keep an eye out for that upcoming video. It's going to have a lot of information about the shuffle so that you can check on the profits on your server before sinking gold. But also, just until that video comes out, keep a heads up, do your own research, and kind of look at that market. There's definitely profit to be made in mass milling herbs, flipping it into the pigments, and then making the tomes yourself. Next, we have enchanting. So this has been a big seller for me in the past couple of days with the ring enchants, as well as the weapon enchant celestial guidance. A lot of people are turning to celestial guidance weapon enchants because it's significantly cheaper than the other options that cost around 4 to 6k each, and this enchant is a great alternative to those. I recently bought a large amount of sacred shards and started shuffling these into the ring enchants as well as the celestial guidance. Just as an FYI, the ring enchants have and always will be a highly competitive and volatile market. So just make sure that you're checking your profit margins on your server before jumping into this market if you're new to it. However, not so much with the celestial guidance enchants. On average, in the past couple of days, I've been making anywhere from 100 to 120 gold profit off of these enchants, and I'm selling roughly 40 to 80 of them a day, and then another 15 to 20 of the ring enchants daily as well. Honestly, most days the only reason that my celestial guidance is capped is because I have to go to work. If it's a day that I can just sit here and watch the market as they sell, I normally can't even put them up quickly enough for me to be able to craft more. Right now on my server, the weapon enchants are making around 75 to 85 gold profit per craft. This is also another really good market that you can start flipping in. Just make sure that you check prices on your server. Now, moving on to tailoring. This has been the heavy hitter when it comes to profits. I've recently been working toward all of my rank 4s with all of my legendary items, and just recently put together a complete Shadowlands tailoring gold guide. If you guys missed this video, check it out. It's an absolutely great guide with a lot of information, and I did finally get together my spreadsheet for the legendaries. If you follow the link in the information on the video, it'll take you to the spreadsheet, and then you should just be able to update your material prices and then update your server's sale prices for each of the items at each of the ranks, and it will give you a range of which crafts are profitable and which are not, so that you can understand better what you're looking at with your initial investment. So, of course, with tailoring, the big money makers have been the Grim Veiled items. Of course, I'll touch on some of the smaller items as well. The pink party hat is a medium fast seller with a very good profit margin, very easy to craft, and there is absolutely no excuse for you not to put these on the market. I know that we're talking pocket change here with this craft, but when it's so easy and so cheap to make, most servers are at the very least making 30 to 40 gold profit off of the craft. You have absolutely no excuse not to post these on the AH and then just restock the AH whenever they're gone. Also, interestingly enough, with the crash of Shrouded Cloth and making the 30 slot bags stabilize down over the past week, I've actually made a decent amount on my servers with the old BFA 30 slot bags. And the reason is because the price of the materials for BFA on my server have plummeted. So don't forget about the old BFA bags. They're still 30 slots as well, so you should be able to craft those. And especially with the prices dropping so much recently, you can normally make a profit. So now let's talk about the big boys, the Grim Veiled items. I break this down a lot more clearly in the complete tailoring guide. However, simply put, if you're leveling your Grim Veiled items from rank 1 to rank 2, you're looking at a loss, and you should consider this an investment to get your rank 1s up to rank 2. Normally, on most servers, once you hit rank 2, you either cut it very close with your loss, cut even, and you're looking at normally around 1 to 5k profit per craft for the rank 2s, 3 to 8k profit for the rank 3s, and then depending on the item, anywhere from 10 to 50k for the rank 4 crafts. Make sure that you're working toward these and spending the time to rank these up. The initial investment is definitely worth it. Also, as a side note, make sure that you're doing all your daily quests that you can in the Maw. Getting the reputation with Venari, there is an essential game-changing crafting profession pattern that you can get when you are cordial with the Venari. I'm currently working on this myself, as the Venari rep grind is definitely a little bit harder to do. But once you're cordial, you'll be able to make the Crafter's Mark II, which allows you to make all of your crafted items. Instead of 151, you can make them 168. And the Shadowlace armor at 168 is selling much, much better. Now, the next two things that I'm going to talk about are highly speculative, so please take this into consideration. This is just my speculation, but I would venture to say that seeing as how as much research I can do on my 2 high pop servers, no one yet has been crafting any of the blacksmithing weapons at 168 and putting them on the auction house. I saw one person on my server that apparently has this already, however, is for some reason not posting it to the auction house. Or if they are, they're simply just flying off the AH before anyone else can see them or myself. So here's what I recommend. If you are listening to this and you are a blacksmith, please, every single day, make sure that you are doing as much of the Venari rep grind as you possibly can and get cordial as quickly as you can on your server. With blacksmithing and this crafting, you will be able to make 168 weapons. And I'm going to make a speculation here, so don't come hunting me down with pitchforks if this does not come true. I would say that if you are the first blacksmith on your server to hit cordial with the Venari and start crafting the 168 weapons, you could probably solo craft the weapons and hit gold cap in a month or 2. I know personally right now, with pushing mythics and doing the raid, I would for sure throw down 50 to 100k for these weapons instead of having to pay 200 to 400 for an epic BOE on my server that's only 190 compared to 168. However, take that with a grain of salt. That's my speculation for the week. So I personally invested gold in a boost for my blacksmith, so I wholeheartedly believe that this is going to be very lucrative. And then finally, I want to touch a little bit upon another upcoming video that I have. I want to talk about it in more detail in the video, but I still want to cover it. So I know this happens in all expansions, and it's been happening for a while. However, I feel like this is much more significant in Shadowlands than any other expansion that I have been a part of, and that is undercutting on the A8. Now, like I said, I'm going to cover this in a whole lot of detail, but I do want to make my stance on this very clear. I believe that undercutting 99.999% of the time is something that you should not be doing on the auction house with the changes that they had in BFA. There's absolutely no reason to do this. Simply post the item at the lowest price on your auction house and let it sit. People are buying an absolute shit ton of all these items from Shadowlands right now, and they will not blink if it's an extra 50 gold, so don't undercut. The first 2 days that I did this on Inscription pigment flip into the tomes, I was selling the tomes for 1k. After that, the very next day they were selling for 850. The day after that they were selling for 700, and then I bought out the market, brought all of them up to 1,000, and over half of the tomes that I put up on the day for 1,000 sold that same day for 1,000 each. So you can see there's really no reason in these kinds of markets to undercut. If they would have all stayed at 1k, everybody would have sold all of their tomes at 1k. So don't purposefully undercut in the market just because you think this is going to be a faster profit. It's not. All that's going to do is decrease the value of the item on your server and make the shuffle less enticing. Now, there is a very specific reason why I said 99.999%. There is one time that I think this is acceptable. However, this is a very specific thing and should only be done by somebody that's been in the market and not a newcomer into the market. My example that I'm going to use in the video is Dark Moon decks. So I've been selling the Dark Moon decks at the beginning of the expansion for around 70k each. Then they dropped and they stabilized at about 30k for around a week and a half, and they never really went above 30k. If they did, it was just a 35k, and then they quickly came back down to 30k. Rarely did I ever see them go for under 30k, however. One morning I woke up and saw the market had been completely reset to 120k each. Now, I looked and saw that on the second day of launch, I had sold a couple of Dark Moon decks for 100k each, and that was it. I knew the 120k price was not realistic for the market and would quickly drop. Either way, this was unfortunately a way overzealous market reset and was going to get undercut. And actually, while I was watching it, began to get undercut right away within 10 to 15 minutes of the reset. And within 10 minutes, it was back down to 90,000 gold. So during this decline, I knew that it would take the market back down to 30,000 gold. So I undercut the current market by 1k each, posting my 2 Dark Moon decks at 71k instead of the lowest price of 72k on the server. Knowing that the market was stabilized down to 30, I was trying to undercut to make mine more enticing in the very brief moment for someone trying to keep the market up. However, I knew that there was no way that I was going to keep the market up at that price. So I knew that I was making a profit on the way down. So I posted both of mine, and within a couple of hours, they had both sold. Then I went along my day, came back the next morning, and the market had been reset back to 30,000. And there's only been 1 or 2 other attempts to reset the Dark Moon market since then, and they've been wholly unsuccessful and then flopped back down. So this is about the only time that I agree with undercutting. When you've been in a market, you know what the stabilized price is, and you know that someone is trying to reset the market to make a large amount of profit, riding it back down to baseline. And I know that there are going to be a bunch of people that disagree with me on this. So I understand. Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about this. But I think there's a big difference between riding the market down to a stabilized price in a market that you're very familiar with than coming into a market blindly and starting to undercut by 1,000 gold at a time in a market that's been stabilized for weeks. And I think that's going to be it for this Monday Millions, guys. I am absolutely loving all the feedback with this, and I'm for sure going to continue the series. If you have any specific questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. Let me know. I'll try to work it into one of the next videos, or if not, hop on the Discord, ask me personally, and if there's something that I want to cover, then I'll cover it in the next Monday Millions, or add an additional video myself. And also, if you've made it all the way through to this point and you're still listening, you're absolutely amazing. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you so much, and you are the reason why I'm getting closer and closer to my dream of actually being able to do this part-time or eventually full-time down the road. I can't thank you enough for everything, but I can give you some acknowledgement. So this is what I'm going to start doing in random episodes. If you're here, comment down below Hardcore Monday Millions, and make sure that you join the Discord and comment Hardcore Monday Millions. And when you do, I will give you your own special rank in the Discord channel. So once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.